I'm Peggy Pico. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, an iNewsSource investigation into a special tax has got the attention of San Diego City leaders. We'll explain why. Stem cell research using a patient's own skin cells, how a trial underway in San Diego could help those with Parkinson's disease. And in our continuing coverage on the local impact of sequestration, we'll show you how drastic cuts will hurt one of San Diego's most vulnerable populations.
We gotta educate, yeah, not incarcerate, Souls of humanity will shine.
That's a legendary San Diego musician and community activist gets some pretty big honors.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. An iNewsSource investigation has prompted the city of San Diego to review property tax bills for hundreds of homeowners. Investigative reporter Joanne Farian joins us from the News Center with the details. And Joanne, your investigative report on Mello Roos got the city to take a closer look at these property bills. How did that unfold?
Well, we've been looking into a special property tax called Mello Roos, as you mentioned. It's an add-on to property bills for 1 in 10 property owners in San Diego, mostly in new developments. Pays for new roads, water and sewer lines, and often schools. We discovered 2 homes in an area of the city called Del Sur, where the city has been overcharging the Mello Roos payments for 2 homeowners by thousands of dollars.
How did you get this information?
Well, we developed an interactive map that allows homeowners to see how much they pay in Mello Roos and what their neighbors pay. We made the map public last month. We got a tweet from one homeowner who noticed someone in his neighborhood paid a lot more than everyone else, about $2,000 more. We did some digging, looked at city documents, obtained the original building permit, and discovered that homeowner was in fact being overcharged. We found another mistake nearby. That homeowner was being overcharged by almost double what he should have been paying.
What's the city's response been?
Well, they confirmed the homeowners were paying too much. They said it was a mistake. Those homeowners will be getting refunds with interest. It will amount to thousands of dollars each. The city says it will review the Mello Roos tax bills for 344 homes in the surrounding area. All of these properties are in the same Mello Roos tax district, so they want to make sure there aren't more mistakes.
If you're one of these people, or even if you're not, how do you find out if you're a homeowner at risk of overpaying?
Well, if you already know you're in this tax district, it's called Community Facilities District 4, Black Mountain Ranch, then your bill is being reviewed. There's a good chance most homeowners don't know which tax district they're paying into. So they can go to our map, www.kpbs.org/taxes.
iNewsSource investigative reporter Joanne Farian, thanks for the update. San Diego Mayor Bob Filner held his monthly pen and paper session with reporters today, but he wouldn't say whether or not he'll veto any of the amendments to the newly passed city budget. The mayor's proposed budget cut more than $1 million from the city attorney's department, but the city council returned $500,000 of that money when they passed the budget Monday night. Now the ball is back in the mayor's court.
So there doesn't have to be any layoffs. I mean, that was all just scare tactics. On the other hand, since it's only 1%, why fight about it? So that's what we haven't figured out yet. I mean, it's not a very big item in the scheme of things.
The mayor says he's weighing his options and says funding for the city attorney's office is the only item in the budget he would strike. He says all of the other additional spending penciled in by the council he can get behind. The American Civil Liberties Union asked a judge to reject a request to seal documents in the wrongful death suit of an unauthorized immigrant. The case began with the man at the center of this cell phone video, which shows the tasing death of Anastasio Rojas by San Diego border agents in 2010. Attorneys for the agent in the video want to seal court documents to protect their identity, but the ACLU says the case involves serious questions of misconduct, which makes it in the public interest to have that information available. KPBS has signed on to a separate request with other news organizations to keep the records public. Tijuana newspapers report a recent spike in violent crimes in the city. Just between Monday and Tuesday of this week, local authorities registered 7 homicides. Jill Replogle from our Fronteras desk has the details. And Jill, is there actually a rise in homicides, or are those 7 murders just part of an ongoing crime wave?
Well, there have been more than 250 people killed in Tijuana so far this year, and that's a 25% increase compared to the same time span last year. So in a sense, yes, but it's still much lower and generally less gruesome and public than what we saw between 2008 and 2010.
Remind us about what was going on during that 2-year time period.
Well, the main drug trafficking organization in Tijuana, the Arellano Felix drug trafficking organization, was engaged in an internal battle. Now, most of the leaders of that organization have been killed or put behind bars in the U.S. The last one was just a few weeks ago here in San Diego.
What's sparking then this new violence?
Well, experts I talked to say that, first of all, the powerful Sinaloa drug cartel largely controls the drug trade in Tijuana these days. But instead of using its own people to traffic drugs and to sell drugs, it hires local cells, kind of like freelancers, to move drugs and to sell them in the neighborhoods of Tijuana. And police say that it's mostly these street-level dealers who are behind the current violence there.
Fronteras reporter Jill Replogle, thank you. San Diego Unified leaders, parents, and police officers joined State Senator Joel Anderson at Little Italy's Washington Elementary School today to support Anderson's bill to set aside $850 million for one-time school security upgrades. The money would come from the unexpected state revenue bump earlier this year. The legislature has already passed several school safety bills with a bipartisan support after the school shootings in Newtown, Connecticut last December.
But many of them don't start until 2016. If it's important enough to do in 2016, then we should do it today. This measure would allow the extra money to be used immediately by the school districts across California.
The SC Unified District could get up to $80 million to improve PA systems, security cameras, and campus gates if the bill passes. It's been more than 2 decades since an Army major was sexually abused as a teenage Boy Scout while at camp. He hasn't forgotten the incident and wants to make sure the Boy Scouts of Americans don't forget either. Today, attorneys on behalf of Drew Belknap filed a civil suit against Boy Scouts of America, Scoutmaster John Atwood, and the group that runs the camp where the abuse took place. Belknap says he hopes the suit will push the Boy Scouts to develop and enforce stricter policies.
Hopefully there will be more good that can come from this, and that more kids will be protected, and not one more Boy Scout will be harmed, as I was, and have to endure the lifelong struggles that come with that.
John Atwood is now a registered sex offender and was convicted on sexual abuse charges, including those brought by Belknap. The sequestration fallout is set to reach some of San Diego's most vulnerable populations, low-income seniors. KPBS reporter Susan Murphy has details of drastic cuts to vital programs that could take effect as early as July 1st.
Some of the hardest hit programs of the sequester in San Diego could be senior dining centers and home meal deliveries. The San Diego Senior Community Center, which provides breakfast and lunch every day of the week to hundreds of seniors, is facing cuts up to $200,000 or 70,000 meals. San Diego Congressman Scott Peters is urging his fellow congressional representatives to pass a budget in the next 2 weeks to avoid the potentially devastating effects.
We in the House have passed the budget. We got the Senate to pass the first budget in 4 years. Now we need the leadership of both chambers to appoint people to come together in what's called a conference and work out the differences.
Peters is donating $1,300 per month, which is 8% of his salary, to the Senior Center to help supplement meals. He's calling on his fellow representatives to join him and sequester their salaries.
If you're in Washington, D.C. and you have a comfortable job, maybe you're not feeling the effects. These people sure are.
The sequester is hitting the Senior Center hard because of $77 million in cuts to the Older Americans Act. The funds trickle down to the Senior Center and 20,000 other providers nationwide of senior meals, in-home care, and transportation. Debbie Case is CEO of San Diego's Meals on Wheels. She says the San Diego branch won't see direct cuts, but they face an onslaught of indirect cuts at a time when they're serving a record number of low-income seniors.
You have to understand that there's been a 34% increase in the senior population that needs our help and are at risk of going hungry just since the Great Recession began in 2007. So that's a very short period of time. And there's 7.9 million seniors at risk of going hungry right now in the United States.
Kay says feeding seniors nutritionally balanced meals keeps them healthy, independent, and significantly reduces healthcare costs. Susan Murphy, KPBS News.
Thousands of U.S. Marines and sailors are now engaged in military war games off the San Diego coast through the end of the month. It's all part of Dawn Blitz 2013. The exercises involve the transportation of supplies from ocean to shore. This year, Japanese forces joined in the war games, which got the attention of China. Leaders there had asked the U.S. military to put off the operation, but it's proceeding as planned. 8 San Diegans living with Parkinson's disease have teamed up with scientists at Scripps Research Institute for an experimental procedure that will utilize their own stem cells to replace damaged brain cells. The patients are so dedicated to the research, they've literally climbed mountains to raise money to keep this unusual study going. Joining me are Dr. Melissa Hauser, co-researcher of the project, and Cassandra Peters, a participant in the study. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Hauser, now this study uses adult stem cells derived from the patient's own skin. This is not the same as embryonic stem cells. How do you get adult skin cells to turn into stem cells?
Well, we take a biopsy of the skin, we put it in a petri dish, and we engineer the cell to devolve into a stem cell. A stem cell can turn into any cell it wants to turn into, which is how we grow organs, grow hair, grow bones. Well, this particular study uses genetic engineering to turn that stem cell into a brain cell, and not only a brain cell, but a brain cell that produces a chemical called dopamine.
Let's talk about that. So we've got you've taken the biopsy. We've transformed these to revert them back to stem cells that can change into other cells in the body. Now you're going to put this in the brain. Tell us why these stem cells, why you'd want to put them in the brain for Parkinson's patients.
In Parkinson's disease, there's an area of the brain called the substantia nigra, which is on the stem of the brain that connects it to the spinal cord. That makes a chemical called dopamine. The dopamine is a chemical that the cells talk to each other through this neurotransmitter. Parkinson's disease patients lack dopamine, and so the stem cells are now producing dopamine, and we're just giving back the brain what it's chemically lacking.
Okay, and we're going to come back to that in the study and how far you've gone on that, but I want to talk to you, Cassandra. Now, it's been 13 years since you found out you had Parkinson's. Mm-hmm. How did you know? Were there symptoms?
Oh, yes. First symptom was a tremor, my left hand and arm. There was weakness, depression, horrible depression, a whole lot of different symptoms, but we weren't absolutely certain that it was Parkinson's until 2005.
And how did you find out about this study?
The study? Mm-hmm. Through the Parkinson's Association of San Diego. I was actually given a tour of the Scripps lab, and I talked about it with Dr. Hauser at my next appointment.
Decided to join that. Now, Dr. Hauser, let's talk about what stage of research you're in now. You started with that. What have you done so far on this study?
Right now we're doing a pilot study. We've recruited 8 patients. We've already biopsied their skin, and their cells are all growing in petri dishes. We've got 2 lines that are ready to be investigated in rodents. And once we prove that that's safe and efficacious, then we can approach the FDA and grant money.
Yeah, and that's one major issue with this. So you're in the very, very early stages, and it's going to take a while before human clinical trials. But tell us about funding. Who is funding this research right now?
Funding is a joint project between this organization called Summit for Stem Cells, which is a private organization that climbs mountains, and you sponsor a mountain climber, in partnership with our nonprofit, the Parkinsons Association of San Diego.
So far, some donors, but not enough, evidently.
Right.
Because, and I'm saying that because, Cassandra, now, typically patients in research studies don't collaborate as closely as you do with the researchers. Mm-hmm. They certainly don't typically help raise money for their own research, but your group is doing that. Tell us about the hike up Mount Kilimanjaro?
Well, Sherry Gould, who is Dr. Hauser's nurse practitioner, had a wonderful idea. She said that she wanted to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa to raise funds and raise awareness for this type of science. And
these are Parkinson's patients who are going to climb a mountain.
There was, I believe there were 16 people that participated. Everyone got to the summit, including the Parkinson's patients. So that was a huge inspiration, I think, for the rest of us.
This is inspiration, certainly, and I want to end with this. What would you say to people, and Cassandra, why don't we ask you, who say, look, these are experimental studies, this is offering false hope, we don't know where this is going to go?
No, it's not false hope. When this works, when this procedure is approved and has happened, it will absolutely revolutionize medicine, and that is partially my goal in all this.
Alrighty, there's a whole lot more on our website. Cassandra and Dr. Hauser, thank you so much for this update.
Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you.
A local charter school dedicated its newly renovated auditorium today, naming it for a legendary San Diego musician and community activist. KPBS video journalist Katie Ufrat has more on the musician who recently became a recipient of the nation's highest honor in folk and traditional arts.
Well, it's time to shine the light on the young souls of the earth. Let it shine, illuminate the beauty of their worth.
Ramon "Chunky" Sanchez is playing his guitar inside the auditorium that now bears his name. The auditorium at Logan Heights King Chavez Academy was renovated before being dedicated to Sanchez, who is a resident artist at the charter school.
Vamos, mis amigos, let's try some brotherhood.
Inside, its walls are covered in bright murals depicting historic people from social justice movements.
When they see this, they don't just see a wall with some painting, but hopefully they see me, Chunky Sanchez, somebody who cares about them, and that's what schools ought to be.
A younger Sanchez indeed appears in the mural. He's been playing music and advocating for Chicano rights in San Diego for more than 40 years, dating back to his time performing on the picket lines with United Farm Workers founder Cesar Chavez.
We gotta educate, yeah, not incarcerate,
Now he's being nationally recognized. Last week, he was announced as one of this year's 9 recipients of the National Endowment for the Arts National Heritage Fellowships, the first San Diegan to receive the prestigious fellowship. But Sanchez says the award isn't just for him.
I was very honored, but not just thinking about myself, but my family, my grandkids, my wife, and also all the wonderful people here at King Chavez that have bared with me through hard times.
In September, the 61-year-old Sanchez will travel to Washington, D.C. for the first time, where he'll be awarded the $25,000 fellowship, earning him a place among fellow winners and musical legends like B.B. King and Bill Monroe. Katie Ufrat, KPBS News.
Yeah.
Commercial journalism outlets, including newspapers, radio, and TV stations, have shrunk in recent years. That's not the case with nonprofit news organizations like KPBS, Voice of San Diego, and others throughout the country, which are expanding. But will these niche organizations last? Joining me with more on the Pew Research Center's new report called Nonprofit Journalism, a Growing but Fragile Part of the U.S. News System, is Professor Dean Nelson, Director of the Journalism Program at Point Loma Nazarene University. Dean, welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be with you again.
Now, this might seem obvious for most people because they think of the difference between nonprofit and profit news organizations as money. Both need money.
Right.
There's a news alert there. So remind us, what is the difference between the two types of organizations?
Well, the nonprofits, when they can, when they get donors or foundations or corporations to help fund them, those can be tax-deductible contributions. So that's an advantage for some organizations. And also, you don't have the same kind of responsibility to shareholders. You plow the money right back into the organization. You have to. And so you can operate at a leaner level that way.
Speaking of the fundraising, the Pew Center study of 172 nonprofit newsrooms across the country asked about their staffing needs, where they want to focus their staff and what they're most concerned about. Now, 54% said their primary focus is on business, advertising and fundraising. 54%, while 39% want more staffing and resources for editorial and reporting, and 6% actually did not respond, which was a little bit interesting.
That's a very revealing statistic, by the way.
Yeah, tell us what it reveals.
Well, it shows you that the business model that they're operating under isn't working very well, and that a lot of that attention is having to go toward how are we going to keep the lights on, and how can we expand or even keep the people that we have, as opposed to how can we focus on really developing our news quality here. So I think what that reveals is nobody has figured out how to really fund this thing.
Not just in nonprofit, though.
No.
Traditional commercial news outlets are facing the same thing.
Their business model is just as broken as the nonprofit one. In fact, it was broken before the nonprofit one. That's why we even have a nonprofit one.
A lot more nonprofits than before. I want to talk more about this research by Pew. They also broke down the most popular niches as far as nonprofit newsrooms that they were looking at. And what they found was investigative reporting came on top with about 21%, followed by news and government, then public and foreign affairs at 13%.
Sure.
Bringing up the rear is reports on environment with just 3%, 4% of the focus on that, and then 3% on health and then also arts and culture. Now, we do a lot more of that here. We're an established news source. What do you think this reflects as far as the nonprofit organizations or models for other startups?
Sure. Well, actually, let me comment on the environmental thing. You realize that it was an online nonprofit organization that just won the Pulitzer for environmental reporting, Inside Climate News. I mean, that's a nonprofit that has a staff of maybe 4 or 5 people, and it did a very, very important story in 2012.
The editor lives here, by the way.
Yes, former member of the UT staff, and one of the reporters was as well. But all other news organizations are shrinking their environmental staffs, their environmental reporting staffs, and here's an environmental nonprofit news site that just won the Pulitzer Prize. That should tell us that that's not a story that we should probably be ignoring. But the investigative thing that you bring up, the reason that that's working so prominently with nonprofit online news sources is because with mainstream, it's expensive.
It is. It's resource intensive. We work with iNewsSource here. We've partnered with them, which is a nonprofit as well. Because it is labor intensive, it costs hours. It takes quite a bit of time.
And you may not get a story out of it. You may have reporters working on something for months and end up, there's nothing there.
Let's talk about Newsweek has become, sadly, a poster child for dying news outlets, first with the sale and now with their weak digital subscriptions. It's not working. What does this tell you about the future of either nonprofit or commercial news in general?
Well, what it tells you is nobody's figured out how to do this. The many news organizations, especially print, thought if they would just go online, the advertising would follow. And some of the advertising did, but it didn't have the same kind of money that the mainstream, the print stuff did. And so that isn't working. Newsweek is a great example of they thought it would work and they were wrong.
So right now, as it stands, we're still just in the pioneer stage of where we go from here.
Not only the pioneer stage, I predict it's going to get actually worse before it gets better.
All right. Journalism professor Dean Nelson, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
I'm Gwen Eiffel. On the next News Hour, Paul Salman continues his reporting on older workers and how they help bring in tax revenue. That's Wednesday on the PBS News Hour.
And it looks like June gloom is upon us. You can expect cloudy skies if you head to the coast over the next couple of days, with temperatures in the upper 60s. And those clouds will also stick around inland as well. Temperatures there in the upper 70s. Warm and sunny in our mountain areas, and in the deserts, dry and toasty. A crafty form of vandalism was seen today at San Diego's Kensington Branch Library. The place had been yarn bombed. Yarn bombing happens when anonymous knitters cover outdoor items with colorful yarn, as seen here. No one has claimed responsibility for this yarn bombing, but visitors to the library seem to like it. They say they are glad it drew attention to the library branches. They say that it's been overshadowed lately by all of the attention given to the new Central Library, which opens in 3 months. The Belleville Park Centennial in 2015 will focus on San Diego's innovative contributions, cultural heritage, outdoor lifestyle, and entertainment. The plan was presented at today's City Council Natural Resources and Cultural Committee. Tourism officials are hoping for an influx of U.S. and international travelers to celebrate the 100 years since the Panama, California exhibition in 1915. And recapping tonight's stories, San Diego Mayor Bob Filner held his monthly pen and paper session with reporters today. He says he's still on the fence about whether or not he'll veto additional funding to the city attorney's office approved in the just passed city budget. The ACLU is asking a judge to reject a request to seal documents on the wrongful death suit of an unauthorized immigrant. KPBS and other news outlets also pushed to keep the records open. And the sequestration fallout is set to hit low-income seniors next month. The San Diego Senior Community Center is facing cuts of up to $200,000. You can find tonight's stories and download the KPBS app all on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us and have a great night.